course you wouldn't have to add sugar. It already had over 40 grams of sugar in it. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Sexual Patience and I am Patience. And in today's video, I'll be talking about some food items to cut out of your diet in the new year. So it's a new year, hopefully new you, is it? All want to be better each and every single year. And since we all know that health is one of the most important things in our lives, health is wealth, here are my suggestions of things that I'm cutting out or have cut out, and maybe you should try cutting out of your diet as well for the new year. Even if you don't cut it out all the way, at least try to consume it in moderation. Take off a little bit. Sometimes a lot of these things, we cut it out cold turkey, we would rush back to it because it has addictive tendencies in a lot of our food. But there's still some things that you can reduce for a better outcome. So let's get straight into it. But before we do, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of the videos that I'll be posting in the future. Let's get straight into it. Here are some items that you should consider cutting out or reducing from your diet in this new year. The first item is not a necessity to live, and that's soda. It is so important that we learn what makes soda, but then also how detrimental it can be for your health, especially if it's consumed regularly. I have such fond memories of drinking soda, especially when it comes to Fanta. Living in Ghana, it was probably my favorite soda. We had a crate in our house, and then the soda car would come around, and then my dad would give them our old crates, and then we would get a whole new set of crates. Whenever it was time for a treat, we would get one, we would drink it, we would savor it. It was amazing. I was never a Coke or Pepsi person, but Sprite, Fanta, and ginger ale were definitely my favorite types of sodas. Until two things happened. I think my junior year of high school, I read two amazing books. The History of the World in 6 Glasses, which basically talked about how certain drinks have changed the world. You can tell the history of the world in 6 glasses. If I can remember, the 6 glasses was definitely beer, then it went to wine, and then I think it was rum and spirits, teas, coffee, soda. Those are the drinks that were discussed in the book. I read it long ago. Such an amazing book, and I would definitely recommend. But then I also read another book called Fast Food Nation, and it changed my life even more, where I learned about how a lot of fast foods are made. Read the book. It's such a life-changing book. As a 16-year-old, I decided that I would reduce the amount of fast foods that I would eat, which will come on later, but then also sodas, especially from the soda machine. Have you heard of E. coli? You should probably do some research. I ended up starting to gradually reduce the amount of sodas that I drank. And then in 2017, 2018, I cut out soda entirely. And since then, I have not even had a sip of soda, not even ginger ale, because I know some people don't consider ginger ale to be soda. I've not had any type of carbonated drink since. It has definitely improved my health. A lot of sugar that I would otherwise would have consumed. In fact, over 40% of sugars consumed by an average American is through drinks, and a big part of that is soda. Reconsider your soda consumption, and if you can't cut it out entirely, at least reduce how much you drink. Drinking soda every single day is not really good. The average soda has over 30 grams of sugar in it. That's not great if you're drinking soda every single day. And there's some people who drink like the big bottle, like orange soda, so much. Try to cut it down to once a week, then once every other week, and then hopefully to a point where you're drinking it once a month to less than that. So soda is the first thing you should definitely consider cutting out of your diet or drastically reduce. The next one is alcohol. And in that book, most of the drinks that were talked about were alcohol. The beer, the wine, the spirits, rum, those are alcoholic drinks, so about half of it. And that's how a lot of the world has definitely gone through it. But we live in a society where a lot of times now they're romanticizing drinking. Oh, I can't go out if I can't drink. I would never hang out with people who don't drink. The wine moms, going to your kids' basketball games with drink in your hand. We've become a very alcoholic-driven society, and that's not good. Personally, I don't drink, and that's not to say, oh, I'll never drink, I'm too good to drink, or there's anything wrong with it, but it's in moderation. There was this study that said that people who drank a glass of wine every so often improve their life. All these claims, that's not true. There were also discrepancies in that. Do not readily believe studies that were published by companies that have ulterior motives. I am sure that if you studied a group of anything, you can come up with any type of results that you want. By the end of the day, drinking alcohol excessively is not only damaging to your health, but it's also dangerous to all aspects of your life, including financial, your family life, and you can easily become an alcoholic. So I like to stay away from it as much as I can, because at the end of the day, health is wealth. And if you never drink alcohol, how are you gonna become an alcoholic? Think about it. Continue with the drinks are sugary drinks, fruit juices. This can be a slippery slope. I'm not saying don't drink your juice. Do so. Look at the bottle and the nutrition. Just because something says no added sugar doesn't mean it's good for you. I've gone through 2 types of drinks I was obsessed with that I also gave up when I gave up soda, or slightly after I gave up soda. One being mocha. I used to drink the little Starbucks mocha a lot. And then one day I looked at the back. This has 30 to 45 grams of sugar in it. I think I should stop. It took a while, but I definitely did stop. At first I reduced it to instead of drinking it several times a week, I got to like once a week, and then finally I gave it up altogether. Next was Naked. I'm sure a lot of you have heard it. There was a whole time where people were obsessed with the Naked drink. And I remember when I even got my wisdom teeth removed, that was what I was drinking for several days till I could eat solid food. One day I turned the bottle around as well, and I found out that even though it said no added sugar, of course you wouldn't have to add sugar. It already had over 40 grams of sugar in it. I think the small one had like 48 grams of sugar, and the big one, not even the big one, medium sized one, had over 58 grams of sugar in it. Why would you need to add sugar? To the point where I stopped drinking it as well. It took a while because it was so delicious. The mango was my absolute favorite, but I cut it out, and I cut out a lot of juices, and my drink of choice is actually water, because water is just life. It literally is life. Look at your sugary drinks and try to reduce them. You don't have to cut it out altogether like I do it. Drink it in moderation. And I still drink orange juice once in a while. I just never have it in my fridge. But if I'm out and they have orange juice, I'll of course drink it. I just wouldn't buy it and put it in my house to drink it regularly. The next thing you need to cut or reduce is definitely coffee. There are a lot of people who are overly consuming caffeine. I heard of 2 cases recently where people died from drinking charged lemonade. I didn't even know it was a thing. I am so glad that I never ordered the lemonade from Panera, because I didn't even know what charged lemonade was. But apparently this lemonade was so much caffeine that one girl's heart stopped and another guy also died from it. Caffeine is not a good thing to be obsessing over. And we've built a culture around caffeine, you know, whether it's coffee stores and coffee drinks. Coffee is life. Don't talk to me before I have my morning coffee. I'm personally not a caffeine person, but definitely don't be overly obsessed with it, because it's not healthy. Anything that you excessively do is not healthy. So do everything in moderation, and it may be time to cut out your caffeine if you're becoming addicted to it. We don't see the same way we see alcohol or drugs, because of course you don't see people who are basically risking it all for coffee. But at the end of the day, it's not good for your health either. Now that we're getting off of drinks, let's move on to fast foods. As I said when I read the book Fast Food Nation, it definitely changed my life. And since then, I don't eat fast food as I used to. In fact, there's some fast food chains that I've cut out entirely. I wasn't even big on fast food prior, but because I was in college, it's really hard to take your own food to college. I lived off campus, so I was definitely surviving off of Potbelly, Chipotle. At the end of the day, I cut out so much, and today I just eat at home. I only eat out socially, and there's some fast foods that I've stopped, cut out entirely, and I would rather starve. So if I go to some fast foods with friends or family and they order, I have no problem sitting there and literally starving. It's not a big deal for me, because I would just not eat from there because of things that I've read, because of things that they support that I do not support. There's some other fast foods that I have absolutely no problem with that I would eat there if everybody was eating there. But there's some that, nope, I'm not going to do so. Fast foods are high in calories. And even though people think they're cheap, they're not cheap. Have you been to a fast food recently? It's hard to walk out of there without spending a good $10 to $20, sometimes even more. And remember, that is one meal that sometimes have 500 to 1,000 calories. But if you took that exact same amount, mind you, if you're eating fast food every day and spending anywhere from $10 to $20, you can take that $100 per week and go to the grocery store, buy food, cook it, and you would have food that can last you for 2 weeks. Why do I say that? Because my grocery bill is anywhere from $200 to $250 per month, and that includes my food, it's my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, my ingredients for baking, and the items I use to clean around my house. My house is very clean because I buy a lot of cleaning products. So it's definitely not cheaper than grocery shopping. You can't convince me. Unless you have a whole bunch of coupons and you're literally getting each meal for under $3. every single time. And the next thing is the same, which is overly processed foods. Overly processed foods don't taste the same to me. Recently, I saw some gummy bears as well as some fruit snacks, and they just don't taste the same. I'm not sure if the formula changed or just my taste buds have changed because I've not eaten for so long, because it tasted very chemically. Let me know if you've also felt the same way after not eating something for a very long time. It feels the same way when I eat some of the baked goods that are processed, cookies, not all of them, but a lot of them, I feel that way. And that's also because I actually bake my own baked goods. I bake my brownies, cookies. In fact, chocolate chip cookies are my favorite type of cookies, and I have them regularly, but I bake them and I'm able to control the sugar, and it doesn't contain all the preservatives that it otherwise would. So making sure that you find ways that you can reduce your consumption of overly processed foods, also by taking control of it and baking it yourself. I know everybody doesn't have time and everybody's not a baker, but chocolate chip cookies are very simple. And might I recommend that instead of just making the classic chocolate chip cookies, try the brown butter. It's a game changer. I love them and I make them all the time. And also when I bake my cookies, what I would do is I make the dough for one batch and then I would freeze them. So I would bake as I need, so I always have fresh cookies rather than baking a ton of them and then having to eat them all quickly or they go bad. So instead I'll bake enough for a couple of days, sometimes even just one day, and then I'll just eat them as the time goes. Bake as needed. And even though I'm very much a sugary person, I know other people are salty people, so they like to eat overly processed foods that are salty, such as potato chips, flaming hot Cheetos. I definitely tried to get to flaming hot Cheetos back when it was a thing, but I think I can finally admit that I never really liked them that much. They really weren't that good. They were a whole thing and became people's personality in middle school and high school. I never really liked them like that. If you're a person who likes to eat a lot of sugary things, I think that baked goods will solve it. For salty people, I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that you can still try to find recipes to do it in your house and just reduce it in general. It's not good for you because a lot of those salt and sodium are not good for your health. So if you're a person who is overly consuming potato chips and flaming hot Cheetos and all these other salty snacks, you may want to look into reducing it in the new year. The ninth thing you should look into reducing are definitely packaged food or pre-packaged food, whether they are vegetables that have already been pre-cut or suspiciously pre-packaged food. You know what I'm talking about? That you only have to bake, you only have to cook. Sometimes it's just better to cook it from scratch because when you buy those, they have so much preservatives on them. I like to buy fresh foods and cook them. And everything doesn't even have to be fresh, but you can also buy canned food. It's not as bad as people make it seem. Canned vegetables are not as bad as people make it seem. Neither are frozen vegetables, but they're all better than buying food that's already been pre-cooked and all you have to do is dump it in the oven or dump it in the microwave. I don't think it's worse than eating out or negatively affect your health really bad, but I would implore you that in this new year, try cooking some fresh foods and take your time. Schedule days out that you can take 2-3 hours just to focus on cooking some really delicious fresh foods. And if you don't know how to cook, remember we live in the 21st century. YouTube is a thing, the internet is a thing. You can go in there and type in a recipe, a simple recipe, and you will have so many options of people cooking it. Follow the recipe and you will have a delicious food in a few hours. And the last but absolutely not the least thing is something I already spoke a little bit about, but I wanted to emphasize here, which are pre-baked goods at the grocery store. I watched this video showing how they extend the shelf life, and I didn't like it, especially when it comes to cakes with fruits on it. I'm staying away. Be careful about these pre-baked goods. Try to bake. I'm not saying never buy these. I'm not saying don't indulge in them. I'm just saying do it in moderation. So everything I've listed, there are alternatives that you can do, specifically cooking at home, reducing your sugar consumption, reducing your sugary drink consumption, and you would realize that your health will thrive. Sugar is delicious. I love sugar. I'm not a person who likes a lot of salty items, but I definitely love sugar, and I found ways that I can better control my intake by staying away from sugary drinks and keeping my sugar for my cookies and sometimes ice cream, which I mitigate having a lot of by making smoothies. This is an apple banana strawberry smoothie. Absolutely delicious. I made it with oat milk, and it satisfies the similar cravings that I would have with ice cream. But then also I buy my own fresh bananas and cut them up, freeze them. I buy my own fresh strawberries, cut them up, freeze them. Sometimes I use pre-packaged strawberries in a bag, but oftentimes I buy my fresh strawberries, wash them. Sometimes I add apples, sometimes I don't add apple, but if I do, I buy fresh apples to use as well. And it's just so much better. So in this new year, let's get creative and start eating better. Let's cut these out and we'll see our health become much better than we ever thought. So with that, bringing this video to an end, thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and leave in the comment section which of these items would you consider cutting or reducing from your diet in this new year. Also remember to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I do post. And if you enjoyed this video, watch another one. I have like 200 plus videos on my channel, and I'm sure you'll find something that you would like. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.